can live in two kinds of worlds. How? Even as I am speaking to you, some of you are listening and the others might be thinking and wandering and lost in imaginations, right? Right? Do you see that? We have to be together in this, otherwise फिर मैं आगे बढ़ जाऊंगा आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा. Is that all right? So that means that it is possible for man, and each of us is a human being, right? So whatever is applicable to us is applicable to mankind in general. We can easily generalize whatever is applicable to us. So it is possible for man to be simultaneously living two kinds of lives. One is that you are sitting here. The other is that you are thinking about something else, correct? The very fact that which is, don't let your eyes wander, you will lose track of everything. The very fact that which really is known as reality. Is known as reality. Whereas that which is imagined, which is thought of, is called the mind. Is called the mind, right? Can you see this? That even though you would be sitting here, it is possible for the mind to be at a totally different place. You could be in Disneyland or at your home or at any other place. Now, is that for real? Now, is that for real? Where is reality? Reality is that which is. Everything else is imagination. Everything else is imagination. This imaginary aspect of us is what is the mind. Now, what is this thing called mind? Right now, mind is to put it simply, as one of your batchmates has done, brain plus intelligence. Brain plus intelligence. Now, what is the brain? Brain is matter. So, brain के नीचे लिखिए brain plus intelligence है. उसमें दो columns बना लो. Brain, mind is equal to brain plus intelligence. One column headed by brain, the other column headed by intelligence. Brain के नीचे लिखो matter. All right. Product of evolution. All right. Evolution. All right. Just like a computer hard disk. Just like a computer hard disk. Right. Just like a computer hard disk. Automatic. Okay. Prone to conditioning. Prone to conditioning. Prone to conditioning. All right. We have already taken the example of computer hard disk. We take an example that is closer. We just say that the brain is like this fan. So right now, like the fan. Like the fan. Now, how is brain like the fan? The brain is like this fan in the sense that it is totally material. It is totally material. It is a slave to the commands of somebody else. Correct? You switch on the fan, you switch off the fan. Does the fan have any intelligence or any will of its own? remember it is very efficient. It keeps working all the time. But does it work according to its own understanding? Does the fan know what is going on in its head? Does the fan understand what electricity is? What electromagnetism is? Faraday's law, Ampere's law, anything? Does it understand? Yet it keeps working. It keeps working according to the design provided to it by external forces. Who has given a design to it?
Man.
An external force, not the fan itself. Not the fan itself. The fan is a mechanical device which is a slave of others. Albeit very efficient. Very efficient. Efficient but dumb. Efficient but dumb. With the result that everybody else can exploit it, can make use of it. It's mechanical, dumb. You can write all these things for the brain. Everything that applies to the fan also applies to the brain. Alright? Except for one thing, that the brain does not, the fan does not have a memory chip. The brain has a memory chip as well. The fan cannot really recall the events of yesterday. And that too can be done. You can have a fan with a memory chip. That's not difficult at all. That's not at all difficult. Correct? You can have a fan that can keep registering what is happening day in and day out. And after 1 year, when you will take that chip, it will have all the data accumulated on it. That on which particular day, how many hours of rotation was there, at what time, at what speed. All that can be done, right? That's not at all difficult. You can do that as a project. एक छोटी सी चिप लगानी है इसमें और ये सब रजिस्टर भी करने लगेगा. Then it will become exactly like the brain. Then it will become exactly like the brain. Are you getting it? Now, what do we mean by conditioning? If we have come close to the brain, then we must also understand conditioning, which is something very, very simple, not at all complicated. You see, I take a blade of this fan, and it's steel, correct? It's steel, it's metal, and I bend it, and I leave it. Will it go back to its shape? Original shape? No, nothing. It will remain there. So, a particular event in time, a particular experience has left a, yes ma'am. So, a particular experience has left a permanent mark on this machine. A particular experience has left a permanent mark on this machine. This is what is conditioning. Are you getting it? So you pass through an experience, and that experience leaves a permanent scar on the mind. In fact, you could say you do not completely pass through the experience. A residue of the experience is left, and that residue is called conditioning. Are we together on this? On the other hand, had this been, let's say, a rubber band made of rubber or sponge, then had we stretched it, what would have happened to it? It would have gotten back. That is what we call as elasticity. Whereas this property of the brain, that it keeps registering everything, and every experience that it undergoes leaves a permanent mark on it, is called the plasticity of brain. What is it called? Plasticity. And that plasticity itself is the source of conditioning. In the sense that whatever happens to you day in and day out, every single experience leaves a scar, a mark, a stain on the mind. This is conditioning. So you pass through an experience, and what does that experience give? Knowledge. So one of you has written knowledge also. Sensitivity and knowledge was one of the things, right? So now that we are understanding the brain, we must also understand knowledge. Knowledge is the mark of any experience. Memory. You go through an experience, and the memory of that experience is what is called knowledge. Right now. and all knowledge then is necessarily from the past.
So knowledge is the mark of any experience.
Yes.
If we pass through an experience which leaves a scar, and that is the
Knowledge would still be there, knowledge would still be there, but conditioning would not be there. Knowledge is the recollection of the past. Knowledge is the recollection of the past. So it's a very good question that is asked, that can there be knowledge without conditioning? Yes, there can be knowledge without conditioning. Because knowledge is the memory of an experience. Whereas conditioning is the permanent deformation that is caused in the brain due to an experience. You can have deformation, permanent deformation. Are we together? Are we clear on this? What is knowledge? So for example, today when you were coming here, today when you were coming to the college, you would have seen a few events on the road, did you? Did you? Now the memory of those events is what is called knowledge. Okay? But in case you see an accident, and in that accident you see that say a couple of people are fallen on the road and nobody is coming to help them, and that experience leaves this mark that people are cruel and nobody helps somebody in need, that the world is an insecure place, then this will be called conditioning. Mere memory, a recollection of the sequence of events, that is called knowledge. Whereas if that knowledge is not just data, not just information, but it is leaving a permanent mark on the thinking process itself, then that is called. Are we clear on this? Are we clear? Now what is intelligence? What is intelligence? So all that the brain does, आपने एक साइड में brain की characteristics लिख ली है, all that the brain does is very much mechanical, like an instrument, right? It keeps recording everything. Doesn't that happen? It keeps recording so much, and there is also an automatic deletion process. Of course, you don't remember everything, do you? You see so much, you hear so much, but do you recall everything? Can you recall everything that has happened even this morning? You can't. So there is a process here that registers and that also keeps deleting. All that is part of the apparatus called the brain, which is pretty much automatic. But as human beings, are we totally automatic? No. The very fact that we are discussing the brain, the very fact that we are understanding the brain means that we are something beyond the brain. Proof. Can the fan understand itself? Will the fan ever come to ask, what am I doing? Why am I rotating? What are these things that are happening? Can the fan understand itself? But here we are trying to understand the brain. That means that we are something beyond the brain, right? And that beyondness is called intelligence. The capacity of the mind to understand is called intelligence. That capacity no machine possesses. So the fan or the computer hard drive does not have that capacity. The capacity of the mind to understand itself or understand anything. Clear?
Yes.
So whenever we are functioning in an automatic way, that is called conditioned behavior. And whenever we can understand that conditioned behavior, that is the function of
Intelligent.
Isn't it simple? Very, very simple. So whenever we are functioning like this fan, something happens and we are switched on. Something happens and we have switched off, and we don't even know why it is happening to us. Have you seen that happen to you? You ask yourself, मेरे को पता ही नहीं मेरा मूड खराब क्यों हो रहा है? होता है कभी ये? Then that only means that it is the automatic part, the mechanical part that has taken over. All the cells and everything, you know, which is a product of evolution, in which we have had no role. Right? Whereas when we understand what is going on, that is called intelligence. So intelligence is in understanding. Understanding. Now, when the intelligent mind understands what is going on, correct? Then it sees that the brain is totally mechanical. For example, the process that we are doing right now. What are we doing? We are understanding how the brain is so very automatic and so susceptible to conditioning. That's what we are doing right now. Are you understanding this? That is what we are doing right now. Are we? Now, right now, this understanding can happen only in attention. Intelligence operates only in attention. You could put it this way: the fruit of intelligence is understanding. The fruit of intelligence is understanding. Fruit को आप output भी लिख सकते हैं. And the environment in which intelligence can function is called attention. The environment in which intelligence can function is called attention. Environment in which intelligence can function is called attention. Now, are we together, totally together till this point? Are we completely clear? Huh? Now, can you understand? We may have said that we are simultaneously two things. Man is simultaneously two things. What are those two things? On one hand, we are on one hand we are intelligent. On the other hand, we are totally mechanical. So, mind is the sum of two things which are totally different. Mind is two aspects that are totally different. What are those two aspects? If you allow the mechanical part to dominate, then that is called bondage and conditioning. Whereas if intelligence takes over, then that results in understanding. That results in understanding. Now, when can intelligence operate? What have we said? When can intelligence operate? Only in attention. Intelligence does not come from anywhere. The movement and environment of attention is created. The movement and environment of attention is created. Intelligence automatically begins to function. Or you could say, intelligence is always there. The moment you give it an environment of attention, its functionings become available to you. Are you getting it? Intelligence, am I distributing intelligence right now? Am I distributing intelligence? Am I distributing it? Are these like toffees to be distributed? Can someone come and distribute intelligence? Is it not? All that I can do right now is create an environment. And in this environment, now you become available to intelligence. Okay? So you could say intelligence is like a seed, which already has everything, but till the time you do not give it the environment, it does not sprout. Getting it? In fact, seed takes time to sprout. Intelligence doesn't even take time. The moment the right environment is provided, you find that you are understanding things. You find that you are understanding. Many of you will still not be understanding anything because the mechanical portion is so heavy on us, so deeply conditioned that it becomes very, very difficult to get rid of it. Very difficult. Now, the brain, where does it get all its content from?
Past experience.
Very good. So everything that the brain has is a result of past. Everything that is contained in the brain is coming from past. Okay? And past is time. Correct? Now, what does the brain do? The brain operates in duality. Now, what is this thing called duality? Write down. Characteristics of duality are: one, that it has two sides. That the two sides appear as opposites of each other. That the two sides look like opposites of each other. That the two sides always coexist. And that one side can disappear only with the disappearance of the other side.
One side disappear.
One side can disappear only with the disappearance of other side. A simple example is a coin. A coin has two sides. The two sides look like opposites of each other. And it is not possible to have a coin with one side only. Similarly, past and future are two sides of a duality. Past and future are two sides of a duality. Okay. Now, brain has accumulated the past. Are we together till this point? Now, is the past any more there? Is the past really there? No. What does the brain have then?
Present.
Memory, right? Which you can also call as an image of the past. An image. An image by definition is not real. Is the past really there? No. Similarly, the brain creates an image of time to come, and that it calls as the future. Alright? So brain is full of the past and is always wandering in the future. Are you getting it? Past and future, these are the only two places where the brain keeps wandering. Past and future, these are the only two places where the brain keeps wandering. Are you getting it? You could also put it like this, that the brain is a product of time and it keeps wandering in time. Alright, the brain is time itself. The brain is time itself. All the time and everything that has happened to it is stored in it. And it keeps wandering in time. And that is why all of us are so full of memories of the past and hopes of the future. So
Conditioning is also the product of time.
intelligence. Conditioning is also, yes. Conditioning is also in time. Very good. Alright, that is the reason now why We are always wandering either in memories of the past or in hopes of the future. Hopes of the future cannot come without memories of the past. Or you could say that all hopes of the future are dependent upon knowledge. And what is knowledge? From past. How many of you, for example, hope to have a career? How many of you, for example, hope to have a career in Kakatisa? Kakatisa. How many of you hope to make a career in Kakatisa? Anybody? No. It's simple, because you have no knowledge of Kakatisa from the past, so you do not hope of Kakatisa in the future. Is that not simple? Now, if I were to educate you about Kakatisa right now, some of you may actually begin to hope about it, or project it in the future. Clear? So when we say that past and future are two sides of a duality, is that clear now? They are always together. We keep on thinking of future as something new. Don't you always think that way? That I want a new future for myself? But the future is never new. Why? Suppose there is a question in your mind too, that we keep dreaming of a future, but the future that we dream of is always still never new. Why?
Ma'am, sir, it's based on knowledge, and knowledge comes from the past.
Simple two-line answer. Because all our hopes of future are based on memories of the past, hence the future we dream of is totally stale. We keep fooling ourselves that we want a new future. All our hopes and imaginations of future are necessarily stale. You know what stale is? Correct? Now, where does intelligence operate then?
Attention.
Yes. And in what point in time?
Present.
Present. Now, the present is actually not even in time. Time really is only past and future. The present is such a small moment that you cannot even call it a moment. It is not even a point in time. Present is just pure attention. Intelligence operates in present, and brain keeps running around in
Past and future.
just time. Whereas intelligence operates in timelessness. Intelligence is in right now. Right now. The function of the brain is to keep imagining, keep dreaming. Whereas the function of intelligence is to fill in the blank.
Sir?
The function of the brain is to keep imagining, whereas the function of intelligence is to repeat that word. Understand. Now, do you see that there is a clear difference between imagining and understanding? Which part of us imagines? Where does all the imagination come from?
Past.
And where does imagination take us? And what does intelligence do? Understand. Now write down. When intelligence understands, the foolishness of brain, when intelligence understands the foolishness of brain, it laughs and says, not this. It laughs and says, not this. And this is what is Neti neti. Neti neti. Not this, not this. The brain thinks that the reality lies in past or in the future, and it keeps roaming here and there in imagination. But the moment you are attentive, you see the stupidity of all this. The moment you are attentive, you see the stupidity of all this. And then you say, boss, you're dealing in patterns, you're living in the past, you are living a dead life. And then you say, neti neti. Neti neti means not this, this is not true. Not this means this is not true. Past is not true because it is lost, finished. The future is also not true because it is. What is the only thing that is true?
Present.
Now do you know what is neti neti? So intelligence goes to the brain and says, boss, wake up. But the brain will never wake up because the fellow is just like a fan. It has no power to wake up. It will keep on doing what it has to do. It is its conditioned ways. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? Are you
Yes,
better
sir.
on this?
Yes.
Clear? So there is the brain, which is totally conditioned, which knows what it has to do. For example, have you decided what should be your pulse rate? Have you decided? Have you decided to what height must you grow? The color of your eyes? All your daily functions, your digestion, do you decide how things must be digested? Do you even know the entire process of digestion? We don't. The brain is conditioned to take care of that. It is pre-programmed. The brain knows what to do. Is it or is it not? All that is happening through the brain, right? Who is controlling your blood pressure, for example? The brain. And the brain is conditioned to do that. The moment you go out in the sun, you start sweating. Who's doing all that? Don't you see that there is an efficient machine for functioning? The moment the temperature rises, a cooling process starts. So give some water and some salt to the body. That will have a cooling effect. Who does all that? All that is functioning of the brain. And till the time it is limited to that, it is alright. But what happens is that the carryover effect of the brain is not only limited to maintaining an effective body. It starts interfering in our daily life. It starts interfering in the way we look at our relationships, in the way we walk, we talk, in the way we look at the world. Now then there is a problem. Then there is a problem. Because, what kind of digestion you must have, that can come from the past. Because the process of digestion need not change in 100 years, in 200 years, in 300 years. It is alright if you digest the food, your food, the same way as, let's say, King Akbar did. It's very alright. But it is not alright if you carry the same attitudes as the man who lived 500 years back did. Or is it alright? Is it alright? It's not alright, right? You are here today, and today you must look at the world totally afresh, totally anew. And that is a function of the intelligence, and that can operate only in attention. No. That can operate only in attention. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? So the conditioning of the brain is helpful to an extent. Is helpful. To what extent is it helpful? Yes. To what extent? Yes, ma'am. To what extent is it helpful? Day-to-day function. Getting it? Day-to-day function. A kid learns to walk. That walking is not taught to him by society. We are conditioned, the body is conditioned to work that way. Are you getting it? Without conditioning, without basic minimum conditioning, life would become impossible. Physical life, that is. Physical life would become impossible. Are you understanding? So conditioning is helpful only to that extent. But conditioning becomes very, very dangerous when it starts interfering in the way one looks around. Your conception of the world, your vision of the future, everything. Alright? Is this clear? Is this clear?